You ever have one of those moments where someone pushes the wrong button, and it just so happens you were built to push back harder? Yeah. That was me, standing there with a deed older than anyone on that block, while Karen, yes, an actual Karen, screamed at the cops to have me arrested for walking on my own family's land. Let me back up a sec. My name's Ezra Blackwood, and I live in a cabin my great-grandfather built back in 1897. That place. It's more than just wood and nails, it's the last living piece of our Cherokee Scottish heritage, tucked into the edge of what's now a luxury neighborhood called Emerald Ridge Estates. Of course, it wasn't always that. Back in the day, it was just hills, trees, and the sound of crickets. Now it's Range Rovers, wine moms, and the HOA from hell. I'd been getting these threatening letters from the HOA, something about unauthorized foot traffic on their private road. Funny, since the road they're complaining about is an ancestral trail that's been in use longer than their entire subdivision's been in existence. So, I figured it was time to walk the trail again, check the boundaries, and call it intuition or experience. Bring the drone and a copy of the deed. Now, this deed. It's not just any paper. It's registered under the Bureau of Indian Affairs Heritage Protection. There's a seal, a number, a federal registry, all legit. Learned about that after a BIA rep reached out following a land dispute case my family filed in 2010. Took them a decade to dig it out, but turns out our little cabin sits on protected trust land. Which makes what happened next all the more ironic. So there I am, walking the path, soaking in the smell of pine and old memories, when I see it, a fresh, bright red sign hammered right into the trail. Private property. HOA members only. And next to it, arms crossed, fire in her eyes, is Vivian Sterling Hayes, though everyone just calls her Karen. She's got the look: tennis skirt, oversized sunglasses, and the righteous fury of someone who's never been told no. Excuse me. Can't you read? This is HOA land. You need to turn around and go back to wherever people like you crawl out from. Yeah. She said that. On the land my great-grandfather cleared with his bare hands. I didn't say anything. Just pulled out the folded deed and handed it to her, watching the gears in her head grind, trying to make sense of something that didn't fit her worldview. She glanced at the BIA seal, blinked, and then scoffed. This is fake. This isn't a reservation. This is a luxury community. That's when I powered up the drone. Launched it slow, watched it hover up over the trees, catching the illegal sign, the trail, and Karen herself, hands on hips, backing about privacy laws and threatening to call the police. And, true to form, that's exactly what she did. Full panic mode. There's a man with a drone. Trespassing. Filming without permission. Little did she know, that call triggered something a lot bigger than she imagined. See, the federal database is wired to flag specific coordinates when there's potential interference with protected heritage land. So while Karen stood there smugly waiting for the cops to arrest me, a little alert was already flashing red on a dispatcher's screen 10 miles away. Meanwhile, I'm standing calm, hands visible, drone capturing everything. Because I knew what that paper in my jacket meant. What she didn't know was that her grand performance had just activated the Federal Heritage Protection Protocol. About 20 minutes later, the sheriff's car rolls up. Karen practically sprints over, full meltdown mode. Officers, arrest him. He's a threat. He has fake documents. Sheriff Morrison steps out, takes one look at the deed, and his face changes. He doesn't say much at first, just takes it, studies it, and nods. His younger partner, Rodriguez, starts reaching for the citation book until Morrison gives him a look, the kind of look that says, "You're not ready for this." Then, just when I think things are about to cool down, a black SUV with federal plates pulls up. Out steps Wesley Chen, badge in hand, calm as a lake. BIA rep. He walks right up to us, looks Karen in the eye, and says, "This location is registered as a heritage protection zone. I'm here under federal authority." I've never seen someone's confidence evaporate so fast. Karen starts stammering about property values, community rights, investment, all the usual buzzwords. Chen doesn't flinch. He reviews the deed, nods again, and says, "Mr. Blackwood has every right to access this land. The HOA sign is a violation of federal law." And then, the twist. Chen pulls up an archived document on his tablet, shows it to Karen. Turns out, her grandfather Harold Sterling was the same federal officer who oversaw forced relocations of Cherokee families in the 1950s. And guess who bought up the land dirt cheap after forcing those families out? Yeah. Harold. So now, we're not just talking about one illegal sign. We are talking generational fraud. Chen lays it out plain. Sterling used intimidation and loopholes to erase Cherokee claims, then passed the land to developers. Karen's HOA. Built on that land. Karen's face turned pale as snow. She muttered something about her ex-husband being a judge, someone who could fix this. But Chen had already pulled up emails from that very Judge Franklin. He's working behind the scenes to suppress tribal land claims just like Harold did. It was like watching dominoes fall. Karen's call to 911 had kicked off a full-blown federal investigation. Her HOA was facing legal scrutiny, her ex-husband was now part of a federal case, and she was left sitting there, the president of an HOA built on stolen land. As for me, I walked that trail every day after. The illegal sign was gone, replaced with a carved wooden marker, Cherokee Heritage Trail protected by federal trust. Karen. She changed, slowly. Attended the reconciliation meetings. Testified against her ex. Donated to heritage preservation efforts. But I'll never forget the look in her eyes when she realized everything she thought she controlled was never hers to begin with. And you know what? That trail, the one she tried to block, it's open now. School kids walk it. Tribal elders teach on it. It's a place of healing. Of history. So here's my question for you: if justice takes 127 years to arrive, is it still justice? Or just the beginning? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about ownership, justice, and what we owe to those who were here before us. And hey, if you've ever had a Karen try to rewrite your history, tell your story. Because the land remembers, even when people forget.